It is Friday, October 31st, 2025. This is a World Series preview edition of Baseball Today. It is presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Looking for a refreshing citrusy kick? Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. Happy Halloween to everybody. Do we like it that there's perhaps a clinching World Series game on Halloween? How are we doing with that?
As a father of two young children, I personally do not like it, as I'm going to have to miss trick-or-treating, and I've kind of been getting, just a few side glances from my wife about that. But, look, anytime we get a clinching World Series game and the opportunity to watch it, I'm excited about it. So I'm kind of hoping we get two, just because I'm a sicko and want more baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, I know why we're not going on Sunday, Chris.
Well, we're not going on Sunday because the season will be over.
Well, the reason that we planned it like this, MLB I'm talking about.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Foosball.
Yeah, there's a little foosball on Friday, on Sunday. Yes, we're going to keep playing that game. Yes, you are correct. Yeah, so I'm curious how everybody out there is going to be watching the game tonight. Obviously, on the East Coast, it's a little bit different. But as you get to the Central and then the Mountain Time Zone, and obviously where the Dodgers live on the West Coast, it gets a little dicey. You'll have a lot of people, a lot of parents on their phone, probably a solo cup in one hand, their phone in another. What?
I might have a beverage tonight. I've been so good, Chris.
It's okay. It's fine. It's Friday. You're allowed to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on the kids. Just make sure they're doing fine. Okay. Any good costumes?
Both my kids are doing like the inflatable thing. That's the cool thing right now. So they're doing that. Isla's a person getting held by a sumo wrestler, and Teddy's riding a giant chicken.
I like that. Yeah. Those are cute.
And I'll debut my costume on Talking Baseball tonight.
Oh, excellent! We wear it on.
I think I've already said it, but whatever.
Oh, we wear our wear it for our show too.
Yeah, of course.
Great.
Are you going to wear one?
I'm going to go as an older gentleman, like a John Boy Media dad. I'm going to have a silver beard, and I'll wear a hat.
Okay. Can I do a tip of the cap?
Oh, please do.
Just real quick. Tip of the cap to my guy, Rosie. You made me sentimental with that Instagram post you put out there, at the World Series with all your guys. I got a little jealous when you're on Intentional Talk.
No. It's not, that wasn't the purpose of
it. But to see everyone just loves you so much and everybody knows you. And, I kind of want you all to myself, but I realize if I truly love you, I got to let you fly a little bit. So that was nice to see.
I appreciate that. The reason I put the post out was because I hadn't covered the World Series since 2019, which actually could be good news for Dodgers fans, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But yeah, I think that was the point. I hadn't seen a lot of people for a while. Some I had seen, whether it was at the All-Star game or elsewhere, but some people, you're part of a team for 10 years. There's a lot of guys behind the scenes, men and women behind the scenes that you become friendly with that you literally have not seen since you left a place in 2020. So that's all. It was nice. It was nice. They asked me to come back on the show for a quick segment. I did that. That was that. You know where my heart is now.
Oh, and you also went. You were doing it with Carabas in Dallas too. How was that?
Oh, that was fun. They a cute little thing working. Hopped on their live stream. I did get approval from Jake on that. I didn't just do it on I didn't go rogue.
We don't care about that. Sheesh.
I know.
We like those guys.
We do. As I told him as I exited stage left, I said, keep doing what you're doing. There's plenty of space for everybody here in the baseball streaming world, and it's just better for everybody's community. So let's get it going with another tip of the cap, although I appreciate you very much. How about this? Maybe Dave Roberts was listening to our show the other day when I did the Rose versus Kirk run around the bases because he took on Haesung Kim.
Oh, God.
It didn't work out great so obviously I will not be doing this anytime in the near future if that happened to one of the great base runners over the last 30 years in baseball.
That is a tough one for us old guys right there is what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Chalk one up for the young guys. Dave Roberts, usually when this happens, they'll go out and chalk line the body like, he's dead. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they were able to do that on Toronto's field before the World Series, but just that'll get the boys going. At least it'll calm them down a little bit. That was pretty good.
That's why I loved it. Although Skip cut second base. He didn't even go run around the base. Did you see
That's
him?
a savvy move. No umpire was watching.
Savvy. Come on, man.
Dude,
I,
that used to happen in high school when there was only 2 umpires,
mm-hmm.
and so you would, like, say it was, a guy trying to going first to home or something like that. Like, we'd see all the time guys try to go inside the third base bag as the umpires were looking at different things all the time. You just
It's funny.
you gotta know where they're looking.
That's fun. We have seen some high school clips over the years where like somebody just ran right across the diamond from
Yeah.
first to third, and then I mean it's creative if nothing else. Creative. All right, so here we go. Let's get to it. Is tonight the final game of the Major League Baseball season here in 2025? Yes, the Toronto Blue Jays could be 9 or maybe 18 innings away. You never know when you play these two teams in a series from winning their first World Series championship since 1993. It's going to be a pitching rematch that we saw in game 2 that was a classic. It'll be Kevin Gausman for the home team and Yamamoto for the Dodgers.
It should be a fun rematch. I think Kev's outing kind of got overlooked because Yamamoto was so good in game 2. Kev kind of matched him pitch for pitch there till the 7th. It'll be, you kind of think of it as like an old school pitcher's duel about to happen, but you never know how it's going to unfold. But we've got all the confidence in the world in Kev. He's kind of been our guy, for the last couple of years.
All right, so who's got the edge in this matchup? Is it Yamamoto because he dominated in game 2, or the Blue Jay hitters because they finally got a look at this guy?
I think with Yamamoto, because right now it looks like his stuff is so good and his location is so good, I'll still go with him. Because, what the Blue Jays do is make guys work. They don't chase. They put together long at bats, but Yamamoto doesn't let you do that if he has his location. He's got so many pitches, 6 different pitches he's going to throw, commanding the strike zone, tunneling well. And we saw it in the first game they faced off each other. How many pitches did he throw? It wasn't a ton. He was very, very efficient, especially after the first inning. So, I think that in many other instances, the Blue Jays have the advantage the second time they see a pitcher. But I think Yamamoto, because of his location and because he's able to fill up the strike zone, he doesn't allow them to have those long at bats. Now, I will say the Blue Jays have been great at game planning against pitchers. We saw them come out knowing that, or at least they thought Snell was going to establish the fastball early on. They clipped him twice before he could make an adjustment. So like they're going to be able to game plan for Yamamoto, and I think they're going to have some tricks up their sleeves as far as what they're looking for. But to me, the way we've seen Yamamoto, obviously the last 2 games have just been phenomenal. It's still good pitching beats good hitting.
So he allowed 4 hits in 105 pitches. That
105,
is all he
exactly.
threw
It's
for a complete game, which is pretty good, particularly when you dodge a little trouble early on. I'm curious as a hitter, tell me, are you totally changing your philosophy from last time? Like, what would you go up looking for with a guy who's got this varied an arsenal?
It makes it very difficult. I talk about this all the time. When a guy throws that many pitches for strikes, it makes game planning very, very tough. So you either have to say, we're just going to go up there and be very, very aggressive early in the count, but that kind of plays into his favor because his location is so good. I mean, you have to hunt mistakes, which he doesn't make that often. They have to stick to their game plan. Just try to put together consistent ABs when they get on base. Take the extra base. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw them try to put some pressure on the defense, a la some bunts, try to play for 1-2 runs against Yamamoto and see if that turns into more. That would be my guess with them. As far as like what they're looking for first inning, I think Yamamoto makes that very difficult to do.
Yeah, I wonder if they look. This sounds weird, but I expect them to give good at bats, and that's what I mean by that is fouling off 4 or 5 pitches if you can. And I'm not going to bet against them. I'm just not. Like I don't think that's a game plan. That's just
no. You can't game
practice.
plan to foul off pitches.
Right. Exactly. So you just, I mean, like that's what I expect them to do. So the game plan thing is out That's beyond my jurisdiction.
I would
But,
say, I mean, how many strikeouts did he have? So he struck out 8 people in 9. So that like they put the ball in play, like that could be a game plan. Like, hey guys, let's just we're not striking out. Let's try to make the Dodgers, like we've seen recently. Let's make them make some errors, get on base, get some traffic on. I think that's important because last game 4 hits, no walks. Traffic is what you need if you're Toronto, and you could say, yeah, we could try to drag or push bunt or something like that to get on, or just really emphasize putting the ball in play in contact, which is kind of what they do anyway. Again, it's just very difficult if Yamamoto's on with control of all those pitches. You just go up there battling, Chris.
So Yamamoto is trying to join 3 other pitchers in the last 55 years that have had 3 straight complete games in a single postseason. Kurt Schilling, the last to do it in 2001 when they won it all with the Diamondbacks. Oral Hershiser with the Dodgers in 1988 when they upended the mighty Oakland A's, and Louis Tiant for the 75 Red Sox, who, of course, ended up losing to the Big Red Machine. So I'm going to set the over-under.
I have one more thing. Thinking about it, we're talking about it, some stuff comes to mind. I think we see them be very, very aggressive on hitters counts. And I know Yamamoto doesn't just give in on hitters counts, but I'm talking like we might see leading off an inning, be very aggressive somebody, especially after a long inning that your pitcher had. That's out the window, like taking a pitch. Like, let's go be aggressive to that first pitch. Let's try to pop a solo homer. A 3-0 pitch, I'd expect them to be very aggressive on those. Like, if you're going to get a pitch to hit, 3-0, if he's trying to get back in the count, let's be really aggressive. Let's take a fucking hack. Oh, excuse me. Let's take a hack on like pitches like that, like selected ambushes and 3-0 counts. I think that's something you could do.
Okay. Now I'm going to set the over-under at 7 1/3. So working into the 8th.
Well, I have a working theory about like what pitchers are going to be available, and it's not many for the Dodgers. So pitching into the 8th, oh my gosh!
I know that sounds
if
heavy.
If he gets through the 7th, he's going to start the 8th. So I'll say yeah. I'll say he works into the 8th. It's just and solely, yeah, we can go to history and say, yeah, he's pitched so well, but also because I don't think that they're trusting anybody.
I know they're not, but I think, I mean, what the heck happens if he does struggle a little bit? Maybe we'll get to that question.
Yeah. I got some ideas for that.
Okay, that's good. We'll use that in a bit. I think I'm going to go under on my own number, but I kind of dig my number. What does everybody think out there? So 7 1/3 is what I've got. Would you take the over or the under?
Again.
All right, let's get to the Gausman side of this. How good do you expect him to be? Because I thought John Schneider nailed it. Like he was kind of a forgotten man in a dominant game too.
Well, he gave up the 2 solo homers in the 7th. That was the big blemish on his line, if you can call it that. I think he's going to be great. He's been great for the Blue Jays, Chris. I mean, ever since he's gotten there, essentially, he's probably been the best version of himself in Toronto. Mm-hmm. So I expect him to do very well. I mean, I don't know if he's going to. I think they trust a lot more people in their bullpen. So if you set the line at 7 1/3 for him, I think I would take the under, and I think they would want him to go 7 and then give some guys some clean innings to finish the game off. But I expect him to be very good. You know, the splitter has been great, and we've seen it give not only the Dodgers but most teams in the postseason fits. If he's got that working, I think he's going to pitch very well tonight.
I think so too. I don't think he'll get 7 full innings, but I expect him to pitch very, very good. Remember, he retired 17 straight until that Will Smith homer. As far as I think the thing about Gausman, that when we talk about really, really good pitchers in baseball and his name virtually never comes up, is that he just is consistent. He is a clock puncher. He gets out there and he gives you innings. You have to go all the way back to mid to late June to where he didn't complete at least 5 innings. Heck, even Yamamoto had a playoff start this year where he didn't go 5 innings, right? He got tattooed a little bit by the Phillies in their lone win in the divisional round. So it happens to even the best pitchers. He is dependable. He's reliable. he has made at least 30 starts each of the last 5 seasons.
I
That's
mean,
really
we talk about good contracts a lot on this
good one.
show. He's given them a ton of worth. I mean,
Yeah.
5 years, 110, came over in 22, Chris. I'm just looking at all this right now. Cy
Mhm.
Young 9 and 22, Cy Young 3 and 23. He pitched 181 innings in 24 to a 3.83. And then this year, again, like I don't know. He's been great. He's
Yep.
been great.
I do think the key for the Dodgers here is because there has been so much history between Kevin Gausman and the Dodgers. Obviously, spent time in San Francisco. There's a ton of veterans in the Dodgers lineup. They've got to get a multiple run inning early. Do you know how many multi-run innings they have had in 5 games of the World Series?
I want to say like 3.
4. 4.
Yeah, that has been their MO, and they just haven't been able to do it in this series.
Whereas Toronto's almost doubled them. They've had 7. So I think a huge key for the Dodgers is to get one of those crooked numbers up there early and feel decent about it, because it just feels like they get up there, and we've talked about the offense, and we'll continue to talk about the struggling offense, but man, they just can't put that big inning together at all. And Toronto's done it a couple of times.
Yeah,
Huge
the Dodgers
numbers.
need better damage control. It seems like when Toronto's getting base runners on and they're threatening, the wheels start to fall off for the Dodgers quite often, whether that's via air, whether that's via bad pitches. Like you mentioned, Toronto's been able to, and not just like 2 runs, 3 runs. They've been putting up big numbers.
Yeah. A lot of wild pitches there in game 5, and the Blue Jays are taking advantage of it, and they're running a little bit. They're being more athletic. Ball gets down the line, and they're at third before you know it. And so, you need to credit to the Toronto Blue Jays, who, as we mentioned, are on the precipice of winning the World Series. I want to go back to Yamamoto here. The one possibility we have not discussed with him is that he struggles. And so how short a leash is there on your best pitcher when your bullpen is struggling?
I think he gets a chance to work out of some trouble early on. But if it's multiple innings, like let's say he goes out there and gives up a 2 spot in the second inning, and then he comes back out in the fourth inning, he's, doesn't look like himself, and he's got some more traffic. I think you do have to pull the plug, obviously in an elimination game. And that would put a wrinkle into kind of what I would say was my pitching plan. I'm banking on this guy giving me 6. And I said on Talking Baseball, I think it's the only people that should touch the ball the rest of the time for the Dodgers are Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, Roki Sasaki, and Tyler Glasnow. You might throw Blake Snell in there. I'm not so sure. Like maybe a lefty Lane if you get it, but I think we're going to pare it down to 4 guys, and I'll call it 4.5 if you add Snell in there.
Over
so
the net,
if he goes 4 innings today and you have to pull him, that blows my plan up. And I think you have to look at like an Emmett Sheehan for a couple.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Will Klein, I know he was a demon in that 18 inning game. I don't think he gets put into that situation. I think it is like a Sheehan that will cover multiple, and then you kind of get back into that plan. But again, I think we are pared down to 4 pitchers for the Dodgers the rest of the way.
You're saying to cover 18 possible innings, it's those 4 guys. I think you can knock Shohei out of the game 6 equation, because they did talk to Dave Roberts about that. And remember, it's one set of rules if he starts a game. If he starts a game and gets pulled, I'm talking just as a pitcher.
Sure.
Then he can continue on as a DH. If somebody else starts the game as a pitcher, and then Shohei comes in and relieves, and then somebody else relieves him, they lose the DH, and he has to go play a position in the field. And Dave Roberts said you will not see him in the outfield in game 6, but everything's on the table for game 7.
There's one caveat to that, where you go Yamamoto to Sasaki to Ohtani to try to close it out.
That would be incredible.
Trust me. Hey, today, if you're this is what you're hoping for if you're Dave Roberts, and then we'll get off the Dodgers. It's Yamamoto to Roki, and then tomorrow it's Glasnow to Ohtani to Roki or Glasnow to Roki to Ohtani.
Yeah. Well, this is what you do, people. When your team is down, some team was going to be down 3-2 when we got to game 6. That's just the way the math works. You talk about how does a team stay alive? Because for the Blue Jays, all they do is you keep doing what you're doing, and that is it. You hope that Kevin Gausman can go pitch for pitch with Yamamoto, and we both feel like that can happen and certainly keep it very close. But because if the team that's losing doesn't change things, the season will be over tonight, and the Toronto Blue Jays will certainly get their flowers. As we mentioned, a lot of interesting stuff. How far do you expect Kevin Gausman to go? How far do you expect Yamamoto to go? Does Shohei Ohtani pick up a baseball and pitch it tonight for a living? How many different pitchers throw for the Dodgers is a good number? Do you want to say 3?
Tonight?
Yeah.
3.
Okay. I think 3 and they get a win. I think if it's more than 3, they get a loss and the Blue Jays are celebrating
that's
a
a good
title.
call.
That's the way I look at it. Hey, baseball postseason's in full swing, so keep up the World Series with T-Mobile, the best network in America according to Ookla Speed Test. With the most towers, a signal that goes farther than ever before, and the most advanced 5G, you can catch even more of the postseason. So whether you're streaming the games out and about or checking stats on the road or cheering on your team game at the ballpark, you are connected wherever your fandom takes you. All you got to do, head on over to tmobile.com/network to switch to the very best network. For baseball fans, it's better over here. So every day throughout the season, the Dodgers have pretty much been a favorite to win it all. And that has changed. Now, they're still a favorite to win game 6, but they're an underdog to come back and win the last 2 games. But how do they get this done? Here is Dave Roberts.
I think elimination games, which we've had a lot of experience with, is all mindset. I really do. It's fight or flight. It's whatever adage or saying you want to kind of come, leave it all out there. You know, it's certainly not war. I'm not trying to compare that to war, but in our world, in our small world of baseball, it is war, and so that's the mindset. For me, it's all mindset.
Okay, how much does the Dodgers experience help them in game 6?
It's definitely not war.
Yeah.
It's definitely not war.
Well, he was good. He was good. He pointed
No,
that
I
out.
know. You tend to go there when you're describing it like a battle, but yes, I'm glad he said that. What was the question?
How much does their experience being down this road before help them?
I think it helps them a ton, and I also think the fact that they won it last year helps them a ton. I think that takes a lot of pressure off. You know, Toronto trying to go in there, win for the first time in 30 years, essentially. Like there's added pressure there. You're so close. All you need to do is win one more game to close it out. I feel like you're feeling that. The Dodgers, look, you're not guaranteed to be here every single year, but you just were here last year. You just took care of business. You know what it feels like. And again, a lot of these guys have a ton of postseason experience. So like you learn how to handle the crowd, the noise, all that stuff when you go through it so much. So I think it does give them the upper hand in that regard. How much does that play onto the field? I mean, it plays a small part. I don't think it plays a big part, but it does allow them to kind of, I guess, take deep breaths when you need to take a deep breath.
Well, not only, I mean, they were here last year in the divisional round, right? They're down 2-1 in a best-of-5 series at San Diego, and they go bullpen game. I believe it was against Dylan Cease, and it was not close. And the Dodgers came out and whooped them, and then they took care of business back home in Game 5 against Yu Darvish and the Padres. So that'll be the difference, right? If they win Game 6 here, they're not hopping on a bird and playing Game 7 in the comforts of Chavez Ravine. They have to stay here and win 2 road games in a very, very challenging atmosphere. I am also curious what it's going to be like for the Blue Jays here, right? They've last series in the ALCS, they came home for game 6 and 7 and had to win both in order to advance. And they did that. Well, now everybody's kind of telling them how good they've been. And boy, y'all have kicked ass and you have taken it to the mighty Dodgers. And here you are. All you need is one game. But one game, that could be tough. So I'm really curious to see how it plays out. I fully expect them to do great things tonight, to not let the moment be too big for them, because it hasn't since pitch one of the divisional round against the New York Yankees seemed too big.
Yeah, I think the way that they approach the game as well, kind of, defense is going to show up for these guys. We're seeing some elite defensive players where the moment doesn't get too big. And I think if you're a team that doesn't play defense as well as the Blue Jays do, uh, you start not wanting the ball to be hit to you in some of these situations. I think all the guys in the Blue Jays, they want the ball. They're very confident in that regard. I think that plays a big part in a game like this, where the confidence matters so much on defense. And then the way they approach at bats, like they're not a team that is going to strike out a ton. So like the approach is just going to stay the same, and like you're going to continue to apply pressure on the other team just because you work good at bats. So I don't. Yeah, like the moment's going to be big, and like there's obviously pressure in a game like this. But the way that they play, the style of baseball that they play, I feel like puts them in good situations more often than not.
The good news for the Dodgers is that the formula that they need in order to win a second straight World Series has been done twice in the last 10 seasons. 2019, the mighty Washington Nationals down 3-2 as they headed to Houston. They won Game 6. They won Game 7. Pains me to say, but the Chicago Cubs did the same thing to my Cleveland Indians in 2016. In fact, I flew my family in. Josh turned 16 on November 1st of 2016. And he said before the series, Dad, if it gets back to Cleveland, will you fly us in? And I said, absolutely. So I flew them in. We were so excited, even though we had lost Game 5. And the Cubs, I think, put up a 3-spot in the first. Tyler Naquin let a ball fall in between himself, and I forget who was playing right field, whether it was Geyer or somebody else. But he just let the ball fall, and they got 3 runs early. Like, that was a huge, huge thing, and that's why I talked about the Dodgers having to establish themselves and get a crooked number early. Here's the thing. You have to look at the pitching matchups, because to me, that's more important than even who's leading the series. I know that sounds incredibly weird, but in 2016, it was Jake Arrieta against Josh Tomlin. Huge edge to Arrieta, who was one of the best pitchers in baseball, and Josh Tomlin was a guy who was all guts, but there was a huge difference between those two. 2019 for Game 6, it was Strasburg against Verlander, which sounds incredible, and it was, except that Strasburg was on a Strasburgian run that we had rarely seen throughout his career, and Verlander, as great as he was, even at the time, had already punched his ticket to a future Hall of Fame seat. He was not a great pitcher all the time in the playoffs. He was still kind of chasing victories and hadn't had great numbers. So there was an advantage there. And I think that there's a slight advantage for the Dodgers here in the starting pitching in Game 6. Do you disagree?
No, I mean, I agree. It's very slight, though. I think this game can go a myriad of ways, Chris.
Myriad. I like
how
that.
about that SAT word? Maybe
that's a great one. I like that. A myriad of ways.
I do believe, as you stated, the early innings are going to play a massive part in what goes on. The game planning, strategy, everything.
All right, let's get to some more tidbits from Game 6. It sounds like, according to John Schneider, that George Springer will be back in the lineup for Toronto. How big an impact is just having him in it?
Well, it changes everything. I mean, impact as far as length of the lineup, great. Although, David Schneider filled in admirably, pumped Snell right away. So, that was nice for him to fill in. But yeah, it lengthens the lineup. The one thing it makes you have to do is put Bo Bichette to play second base, and then you have to make a decision on him later in the game. So there's that wrinkle. But yeah, having your full complement of guys in there, and a guy like Springer who's meant so much to this team, especially this year, and the postseason prowess that he, has shown. I mean, it's big. It's big for them. It's big. You just hope that he's feeling good. I can't believe he's going to be in there. I don't know what kind of injury it was, but they got him. They got him where he needs to be. That's great.
Whatever it is, send it this way, because that shit obviously is working. I think it's huge. Let's remember when he's one of the few guys that squared up Yamamoto in game 2, right? He got a high 0-2 fastball that he pulled down the line in the first inning. And he can be such a tone setter. And what a huge bounce back season he had. He's as big a reason as anything as to why the Blue Jays had this huge 20-game turnaround that they did in 2025. He went from, man, George, that is a crappy contract, to, dude, this is the reason we brought you here. And he's back to being old playoff Springer, and I think it's enormous.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you're also swapping out IKF for Bo Bichette. I guess you could look at it that way, offensively. So it's a pretty big upgrade.
Dodgers trying to figure out their offensive woes. We touched on this a little bit the other day. Where would you put Mookie in the lineup, and what would the rest of the lineup be? Meaning, like, who's going to be out there? Is it Pajes? Is it Call? Is it Miggy Rowe? Is it Kim? So let's start with Mookie. Where do you put him?
You know, I was thinking about this, and when he's batted here, he's had so much success. Like, do you put him at leadoff and just say, "Hey, now you got the big man behind you, so you're gonna see some pitches," and just totally flip it? Like,
wow,
why wouldn't you do that?
Wouldn't that mess with Shohei a little bit?
Why?
I don't
think Shohei
understand
gives,
why.
or you know what? He's gonna hit.
Okay.
Mookie's been affected by that. I think also his best offensive seasons, obviously, when he's in right field. I don't think they make that switch. I don't think he's all of a sudden in the outfield for this game, although desperate times call for desperate measures. So I still think he plays shortstop. And then, like, the Pajes thing is very, very interesting to me because the only cards you can really pull are Edman in center, Miggy at second base. Alex Call got his shot. I don't think he's out there, especially against Gausman. So it wouldn't surprise me if we just saw like their regular kind of lineup with Pajes in center, Mookie at short, Edman at second, and then maybe you flip-flop the lineup a little bit and put Mookie in front of Shohei.
It's an interesting thought. If that happens, you know the baseball gods are going to get you. It's going to be a one-run game.
And he's not going to be up.
There's going to be a runner on second with two outs in the ninth, and Mookie Betts is going to come up. That top spot in the lineup is going to come up. But it would have been Betts regardless, let's say. Or let's make it more fun.
Exactly, yeah. They would just walk Shohei, yeah.
Yeah, let's make it more fun. The bases are loaded. That way you can't walk Shohei in that spot, but it'll be Mookie Betts that'll be up. I think he ends up in the 3 spot, which is where he was last game, and that was the lowest he's hit in the order in the last 4 years. As for everybody else, people are calling for Kim. We talked about it. He hasn't had an at-bat since late September. That is not happening. I don't believe.
I'm shocked that I can't believe that he hasn't found his way into a game.
I'm shocked too. Maybe Dave Roberts raced Kim for a spot in the lineup. Maybe that's what we saw at the beginning of the show.
I've told this story before, but Kevin Cash did that to me one day because he loved to play cards. And one day I wasn't going to play cards and didn't have enough people. I was like, I don't know if I wasn't feeling well. And he literally came up to me and goes, "You're not going to play cards?" I was like, "Cash, I'm good today." He goes, "You want to be in the lineup against CC?" And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He goes, "You want to play against CC? You go play cards." And I was like, "All right, fine. Let's go."
How'd you do in the game?
I think I did well. Like, he wasn't very good. He just liked to play cards.
How'd you do against CC?
I got a knock.
Okay.
You got a knock.
That way. Good for you. As far as who I put in there, Tommy Edman has not played well, by the way.
At second?
No. He's been fine. I mean, he made the error, but then he came back and made the great play. I'm talking about like his at-bats. This is part of the reason the Dodgers
a lot of Dodgers haven't played well, though, Chris.
I know. I think that because I heard Dave Roberts say in his presser that we're going to put our best defensive lineup out there. So I think Pajes might be out there again.
I do think Pajes is out there again.
And by the way, I kind of like your idea of putting Mookie Betts, though, out in right field. Because where have all the Dodgers' defensive problems been in the outfield? It's been with Teo. And for whatever reason, right field gets it more than left field.
So you're going to put Teo in left?
Put Teo in left. Put Mookie in right. Put Miggy Rowe at short. Keep Edman at second and put Pajes in center. That is desperation.
I like the idea of batting Mookie leadoff. That's like my
Okay.
if I was a manager, I'd pull
Yeah, I
that
don't think it
card.
happens, but I kinda dig it. But like I said, it's coming that it's coming down to
The
the
only thing
wire.
that does is it creates that lefty lane again. If you went
Mm.
Mookie to Shohei to call
Freddie
it Will
Freeman.
Smith to Freddie.
Yep, you're
So
right.
that's the one thing it would do. But they were running that out all postseason anyway.
Mhm.
They just changed it to get Mookie and Will Smith back to back. So I say you take your chance there.
Okay. Interesting. What do you wanna do, Dodger fans? Who do you want out there? Let us know. Where would you hit Mookie, the whole bit? By the way, Mookie 9 for 55 in the playoffs since the wild card round. That's an average of 164. Besides Vladimir Guerrero Jr., whose stock on Toronto goes up the most if the Blue Jays win the World Series?
I think it's all the young guys. I mean, not young guys because some guys aren't very young. Ernie Clement isn't necessarily young at 29 years old, but all those guys who are in arbitration, who are pre-arbitration, like Addison Barger, he's got, whatever it is now. I mean, maybe a year of service time after this year, but I think having the year he had, getting into the postseason, having the postseason that he's had, I think they start to think about, cornerstone guys, like who's going to be here in the future, and having a postseason run and winning a World Series, man, that like in that what's the word I'm looking for? Not inspires, but that makes the front office want to keep this core together.
Okay.
So I think, if you're Ernie Clement, like you had a hell of a year this year, 4.3 WAR, and he's in arbitration right now. So like he's going to get a bump. Do they look at like trying to do some sort of quote unquote team friendly extension and just, kind of like break him off a little bit to say thank you? Like that does happen when you go through runs like this. So I think it's him, Ernie Clement. I think it's Addison Barger. I think even Schneider. Nathan Lucas, guys of that nature, when you go through a postseason run like this and you have success, I think that makes the front office more inclined to dish out some deals or to keep you around. Like you get much more leeway as a pre-arb or arb player if you go through a postseason run like that. So I think they've already established, whether they win this World Series or not, that they're true pieces to the puzzle. But I think winning it changes kind of everything.
I'm going to go the opposite end of this. I think it's Max Scherzer. Over the last 100 years, only 4 players in the sport have won rings with 3 different teams. That's it. And it's all happened since 1980. It was Lonnie Smith, since the 80s, I should say, who did it 3 times in 6 seasons, Phillies, Cardinals, Royals. Dave Stewart. Stu did it with the Dodgers, A's, and the Blue Jays. Jack Morris did it with the Tigers, Twins, and Blue Jays. And then John Lackey is the most recent to do it. He did it with the Angels, the Red Sox, and the Cubs. So I think it's just one more cool nugget for Max Scherzer that you could put on that Hall of Fame plaque. And oh, by the way, not like we've talked about it very much, because I think he's going to keep playing. But I mean, this could be it for him.
The way he's looked, I don't know why you wouldn't keep going unless you're just over it. He's made probably $400 million in his career.
Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one to do, right?
Here we go. Look it up. All right.
But, you have to remember he's got 4.
I have his
kids,
page
I
up,
believe.
but I haven't looked at the number yet.
Yeah. Well, he got what? What was it? 215 from the Nationals alone.
I want to say he's like 330.
That's what I was going to go around at.
Okay, now let's go 330. What? I'm going 332.
Well, so he got a pretty massive, what was it, a 2-year deal from the Mets? And then he didn't even get like 15 this year from the Blue Jays?
Yes,
or something
15.5 this year. I have it up.
Oh, my God. That's 230. So did he make him 100 million other than that? I'm going to say he's at 327.
366. Get out of here with that low number. Oh my God.
Good job, Max. God damn.
He made 43.3 for 3 straight years, Chris.
All right, last one. Do we have a game 7?
I believe in the powers that, puppeteering this thing a little bit. I think we do get a game 7.
What the hell does that mean?
I think
whoa. time out. What the hell does the puppeteering thing mean? You make it
the
sound
baseball
like
gods.
Oh, okay.
I believe in baseball gods, and I believe we've had such an amazing postseason. I truly believe baseball is hotter than ever. And Otani has a lot to do with it. Vlad has a lot to do with it. I think Canada versus U.S. has a lot to do with it. But, the pitch clock has brought many more people into the game, and sports are hot. Baseball's hot. Baseball gods are going to make this go Game 7.
I don't think so. I thought it was going to be the Dodgers in 6. I still think it ends in 6, and I think the Blue Jays end up winning this one. Although, I always love more baseball, so I'm good with that either way. Only 2 of the last 13 World Series have been clinched at home, which is an odd number. It was 2013 with the Red Sox, 2022 with the Houston Astros. Every other time, it's been a road team that's been celebrating on somebody else's turf. I think it happens tonight for the Blue Jays.
Okay. I mean,
and I think they're going to party their asses off. But regardless, we will have a show.
Oh my gosh, that local bar economy. If they win tonight, woo!
Man, I might have to go invest in a Toronto bar very quickly.
Earls, shout out Earls. I need to get back to Earls, man.
Hey, playoff season's here. Whether you're at a watch party, a tailgate, or you're hanging with friends after the game, nothing levels up those moments like a refreshing tropical lime kick of Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Why? Baja Blast, it's legendary. It's available in every shape and size. We're talking can, bottle, canteen, whatever you need. So this postseason, when you're hanging with friends or you're rooting for your favorite team or you're grabbing food late night or this weekend, maybe you're going to a college football tailgate or an NFL tailgate, grab something that helps tie it all together. And that, of course, is Baja Blast. Do not wait. Grab Mountain Dew Baja Blast today and taste the tropical refresh that takes every occasion to the next level. Find it now. MountainDew.com/finddew. Well, as we've known for about a week now, the San Francisco Giants found their new manager, and he was introduced to the press and to the local fan base on Thursday. It's Tony Vitello. He is making the move from the University of Tennessee, so he's going to keep the orange and black colors on, but he's heading out to the West Coast to San Francisco, thus becoming the first manager in the show without ever playing or coaching or managing at the professional level. One question out of the gate: does Vitello now have to dial back his energy that he's managing pros?
I think if you ask my mom, she'd want me to tone it down. But if you ask my dad, he'd say kick it up a notch, I think it is completely different. There's obviously, we didn't waste any time. We got to the first question that everybody was maybe thinking and should ask. And it is very different.
And he said he doesn't know how it's going to go. And he said that, guys, I'm going to have to earn respect just through my hard work because I can't say, well, this is the way it's done and this is the way I grinded through the minor leagues. He also added, I have grinded. I've spent a lot of lonely nights in hotels around this country. He said it's just been a different type of grind, which I appreciated him saying. So now that he's here, how would you go about your business if you were him?
Just be yourself. Like, don't be anything fake. Don't try to, act like something different just because now you're coaching a professional baseball team. I think you just have to be true to yourself. Guys will see right through you if you try to act a certain way that you're just not. So I think you have to really, again, just have the players' backs. Yes, you have to work hard. You have to show that you're in there. You better be there before the players. You better stay after the players, which is typical. You better have super open lines of communication. I think positivity is the best thing that you can have, especially in a major league clubhouse. Like, guys don't need motivation most of the time. Every once in a while, step in and pull that card, but 98% of the time, just be positive with these guys. And I got a text from Kyle Gibson, who was just, I think he was with him at Missouri, him and Max Scherzer. And he just had nothing but great things to say about him and his ability to connect with people. So I think that's going to be his calling card. Don't change that. Again, do not act like you're something that you're not, because that is the first thing guys will pick apart, and you'll lose a lot of trust and a lot of respect if you do that.
Would you get on a plane and go visit your kind of linchpin players, your big name guys? Would you go fly and go see Rafael Devers? Would you go see Logan Webb? Would you go see Willie Adames? Would you go see Matt Chapman? Guys that you know you're going to have to lean on?
I would. And I think, a lot of people would say a phone call would suffice, but I think going up and actually seeing guys
Mhm.
would mean something. I truly do. I want to bring Kevin Cash second mention of of the episode. He was a guy that was like very much, I sucked as a player. Like he just like he didn't act like he was better than he was. Like he was just himself. And I think he earned a lot of respect because of that.
Yeah, but the difference is that Kevin Cash got what, 7 or 8 years in the show. I mean, he did
But
play.
it's but some it was his attitude more than anything. It was, hey, you guys are great. I stunk, but like, he was such a unique manager for me that a lot of times the way he did things really stuck out, put a lot of trust into his players, kind of
Mhm,
let you just be yourself. I think that Tony's going to do that as well in San Francisco. There's a lot of veterans there, man. Like
mhm.
a lot of guys that you can lean on. And I think he's going to have to do that. But again, true to yourself, just be yourself. That's it.
I will say this, and I watched the entire 40-minute presser,
Of
whatever it
course you
was.
did. You're a sicko, dude.
Yeah, I am a sicko, but I dig him and his energy, and I think I don't know if this will open the doors for a new generation of managers at the major league level, because I think that he's kind of a one-off, and he does have great energy, and he does have kind of that rah-rah college spirit to him, and I just like hearing him talk. Like, I feel so good for all the people that cover the Giants beat. They are going to get their notebooks filled. This guy is going to hit it out of the park with the pregame presser and the postgame presser as long as they win. The thing I did notice is that he does not know the product. He really doesn't, and I don't blame him. He's been so immersed in his college baseball world, and he's going to run across guys that he either had at Tennessee, because they have actually drafted a bunch of volunteers in recent years up there in San Francisco, or guys that he recruited. He actually talked about Bryce Eldridge, and he's going to make him run sprints because he turned down Tennessee and went somewhere else. So he is going to run across those guys, but he really doesn't. He doesn't follow Major League Baseball. And once again, this is not a shot at him. He's been in a totally different world. So I think he's got a lot of catching up to do. Do you think that could hurt him at all, not knowing the players
No,
at this
he'll
level?
first of all he'll dive deep into it, and by the time spring training comes around and spring training ends, he'll have a much better idea of what's going on. But that's not like he's not. It's not an all encompassing job as a manager. Like you don't have to. You're not writing the advanced scouting reports. Like you're
Mhm.
relying on other guys to do that, and you're managing. You're that's the title. So I think he'll be okay. Trust me, man. There's a ton of coaches in the big leagues that don't know every single player or don't know every single. It's just that's not the way. You have your specific job. Do your specific job well. His job is to manage all those people, make sure they're doing their jobs, and make some decisions, keep the clubhouse working the way it should. That's what he needs to do. But again, from what I hear, very hard worker. He'll dive into it, and it's freaking. We're not even to November yet. He's got plenty of time to get familiar with the product.
No, I know, and I think I think it's exciting. I'm curious what Giants fans think about it, and I wonder if Buster Posey is like, this is his choice, and he's sticking his neck on the line, like, for his future as an executive with this organization, where he's obviously still so beloved, on a guy who's never done it. I can't wait. I think it's going to be cool. Nationals, why I'm wearing this DC hat, also opened some eyes with their managerial choice. They went with 33-year-old Blake Butera, becoming the youngest managerial hire in the show since the Minnesota Twins plucked Frank Quilisi back in 1972. Yeah, he was a former shortstop for them and then ended up managing them a few years later. Butera has been working in the Rays system as a player development director, but he did manage 4 seasons in the minors. 33. Too young to do this job?
I mean, um, no, I don't know. What does age have to do with it? Like I'm not super concerned about his age. I am concerned. Okay. So when you're in the Rays organization and you work front office and then you go into the minor leagues, there's a familiarity. and you have some like sweat equity in the organization. You know some of the guys, so there's like, some respect there. You've been in that organization. Going to a completely new organization as a 33-year-old, that to me is interesting. Like he doesn't have the built up respect in the organization that he did with the Rays, and I think that's one thing he's going to have to figure out. I don't know this guy at all. I thought maybe he's related to my guy Drew Buter. He's not.
I thought he was a cousin. No,
is he?
I thought he.
I
was
read
a
somewhere that he
cousin.
wasn't related at all.
Okay.
I guess I should text Drew. I didn't text him. I just read something like not related to Drew Buter, but maybe he is. This is like I'm more interested in this than Tony Vitello. I am.
Wow.
This is a young guy, and I understand. Like for the most part, it's a pretty young team up there in Washington, but like I'm curious. Like when he goes out to argue, like with an umpire, they're going to be like, "What?"
Because he's 33 and he looks like a little kid. He's like 170 pounds. He's not a big man. He's 33. So, wow, look at that. Here's the thing. He managed 4 years in the minors in the Rays organization, finished first place every time, won 2 league championships. He first started managing at age 25. That's pretty good. I think it'll be fun. They still have a pretty young team. Their studs are still super young. I don't have a problem with it. Like I remember Sean McVay got an NFL head coaching job at age 30. At age 30.
That's worked out pretty well. But they have so much more control over what happens on the field. I mean, he's like an offensive guru.
Yes, he is.
And Blake Butera is going to be like, please, guys, please play well tonight. Please.
He's going from player development the last couple of years. And I only bring that up because I remember A.J. Hinch went from player development right to the Arizona Diamondbacks dugout. And you're probably like, wait, A.J. Hinch didn't manage the Diamondbacks? Well, yeah, because it was pretty forgetful. And he will tell you that at first he had no idea what he was doing. He's become a pretty good manager since then, obviously. We can have other discussions at another time. But in Arizona, he said, I was overwhelmed. It was a lot like a tidal wave had hit me. Now, I don't think he had any managerial experience at all. And at least Butera had 4 seasons in the minors. So we got that. I think it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. And I have no problem with a 33-year-old getting a chance to manage the team.
I just looked it up. No relation to Drew Butera.
0, huh?
No.
Okay.
Initial reports mistakenly stated that Blake was related to Drew. And obviously Sal, who's Drew's dad. Shout out Sal Butera.
Yeah, why not? All right. So Trev thinks there's a game 7. I think the Blue Jays wrap it up tonight. We want to hear what you think. Last question. You can only pick one candy to have on Halloween. What are you going with?
Oh, shoot. I mean, I'm like super off candy right now. I used to be a massive Swedish fish guy. So I always go gummy over chocolate.
Wow.
It's either Swedish fish or watermelon Sour Patch Kids. I also like a fresh tub of red vines.
Oh, Michelle's going to love you even more.
Twizzlers, give me the red vines.
She is a red vine snob. She won't touch Twizzlers. She's a red vine snob. So not that you could go any higher in the Michelle Rose pecking order, but you just did.
It was me, Michelle Rose. We go to a movie together. We get red vines and popcorn and a Diet Coke.
That's not happening.
One Coke, 2 straws.
All right. You're throwing my game off. You disrupted me a little bit with the I'm going to pick Swedish fish or gummies over chocolate anyway, because that's candy blasphemy, in my opinion. I've narrowed it down to 3. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup,
great,
which I just love. I love. Mini Twix bars. I go through the justification that if I just keep eating the mini ones, that they don't add up and eventually become more than the dual stick that comes in the regular size package. I've played that game with me. And 100,000 grand bars, or whatever we're calling them these days. Yeah. Michelle brought those into the house to give away, and I said, I get 1, and then you have to hide them, or I will take down the whole bag.
It's, I mean, confirmed just bad candy choices by you. Reese's are classic for sure, but
What do you
like
mean
Twix
bad
and
candy
then 100
choices?
grand bar, that's ridiculous.
Why? What? Thank you, Dan. Dan's with me. Sawyer, you can type. Sawyer
Give
is
me the
the
gummies,
unspeakable
baby.
intern, but you can type something in the. I want to hear what everybody's go to.
You're
God,
so old. I thought you were gonna say like Werther's Originals or freaking candy corn.
Werther's Original gummies. Sawyer says gummies. That's going to be disappointing if that's what most of our community is after. Then I know what's really wrong with our world.
Give me
All
some
right,
red
everybody
40.
be safe out there trick-or-treating. There will be a post-game show from Game 6. The question is, will we be previewing a Game 7? So make sure you look for it. It'll be out an hour to 90 minutes after the game is done. Producer Dan stays up late on that East Coast so he can get it out for you first thing. So if you're still up, you're still wired with all that sugar in your system or all those parties you've been going to, and you want to drunk dial us a little bit, we'll take it. We don't care. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern Sawyer, even though he lost some of his awesomeness with the gummy comment today, that is our one-of-a-kind Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you after Game 6 on another World Series edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast.